You're welcome back to Morning Express. Now let's open up the floor for discussion on the program. Joining us in the studio is a regular on the program, as well as a patriotic Nigerian and a public affairs analyst, Patriot Desmond Patriot Fowobi, who also doubles as the president of the Nigerian Nexus. A very good morning to you, Patriot. Thank you so much for availing yourself for this discussion.
Good morning, Chijioke, and to all Nigerians watching.
All right, Patriots, talking about Nigerians, I think Nigerians really wouldn't be getting quality healthcare services in November and perhaps December or even beyond, as resident doctors across the nation are threatening an indefinite strike from November 1st if the federal government does not meet some of the demands that they are relaying home. How is this news coming about to you, considering the fact that there have been strikes in different sectors, even in the health sector, and yet again, the entire country is faced with this looming shutdown to the healthcare service?
Well, God forbid having our critical sector, talking about the health sector, shut down for even just a day or 2 days or 3 days nationwide. That would be catastrophic. That would pose element danger to lives and property and lives of the law Nigerian people. And what I can tell you is that there have been discussions, ongoing discussions. Just yesterday, I was discussing with Union of Medical Practitioners, and efforts is ongoing to meet with the federal government this week on Wednesday. There's going to be a meeting between the unionists, the health sectors, the medical doctors, and some executives of government. And I believe that this is October and that this meeting is planned to hold this October. It is the aftermath of the direction of the discussion this week that would determine if there would be need for strike or not. But I'm optimistic. We are all patriotic Nigerians, the employees of the federal government in the medical sector, the health sector, as well as the executives of arms of the government. Everybody is working in tandem for the prosperity of this country. And I believe in that spirit that coming Wednesday, in the next 24 hours, that these stakeholders will be meeting, because I believe that the meeting is going to be productive and it's going to provide solutions or directions to how these sectors can work together in harmony.
Now, Petra, talking about this meeting that is set to hold on Wednesday, are there specific requests or demands that you think NAD is going to send out to the federal government or table the matter in the meeting for the FG to address? I know of maybe poor remuneration, poor working conditions, but are there more pressing issues that NAD needs to send home to the FG?
Has always ever been the issue. The issue around our health sector has always been poor remuneration, and that's why you see this jackpot syndrome has been for the past a decade, where you have a lot of nurses, doctors leaving the chores of the country, and that has been the major problem, major point of reference that has always caused this industrial action in our health sector.
Yeah.
We've always have them complaining about their remuneration, poor salary, poor working condition. Like they always say that they are not asking for more. If you look at the direction of our economy in the last 24 months,
yes,
you see that it's really telling hard on employees of government. A lot of them finds it difficult to meet a basic life standard due to their remuneration, and that has been the major challenge. Every other thing is secondary. The primary request by NADS and some of these employees in the health sector had been remuneration, good working condition, and the welfare, most particularly the welfare of health workers. And by extension, it shouldn't be health workers alone. It should be Nigerians, workers of employee. Because as you're solving health workers' problem, by meeting some of these demands, you will see other sector will be springing up for demands and counter demands that would plunge the nation. And that is why I think the federal government and the people manning our social life, our life should be on top. We should always be proactive instead of this reactionary. We've not sat down as a country and as people to look at the problems, look at the variables, look at what is practicable, carry your employees along in the nation building. The reason, I've always hammered on this, and I've always talked about this back and forth between employees of government, the government, and even some stakeholders. The reason is because we are not working as a team. It is not really hard to face some of these challenges that has bedeviled this country, plunging us into incessant striking, industrial actions, and protest. It's simply because we as a people, when I say we as a people, I'm talking about the combination of employee of government, the government, even the stakeholders, the civil society organizations, who've not been, there is no roadmap, there is no national vision in this regard, in different sectors, reforms. People are not carried along, or people are not being sincere with, or people don't trust the system. And that is where the problem lies. So to solving this problem going forward means that there has to be a comprehensive roadmap for different sectors, that the people we have trust in the leadership, and they can discuss about the country, discuss about the way forward, and put in factor that will see to the implementation of the agreement reached. And that is when we can overcome this continuous striking and this continuous argument, counter argument that has bedeviled the country. It's not just the air sector now. Look at ASU, just about 2 weeks ago, it's on the news. Look at Pegasus, they are on the news for industrial action. Why do we as people, it should be maybe 5 years, if we must have issues of striking from all these sector, it should be maybe 5 years, 10 years, a decade, not 3 months. We are facing different problems. And for me, they are not supposed to be a problem if there is sincerity on the part of the people, the employee, the employers.
Now, Patriot Desmond, these resident doctors have accused, some government and non-government actors over what they called evil and exploitative plans. We don't really know what these evil and exploitative plans are in essence, but relating it to the Japa syndrome that you had mentioned earlier, we're seeing very brilliant young doctors, health professionals, and practitioners, leaving the country in droves to other climes and other nations of the world to practice their craft. And, they're doing well over there. And on the other hand, we're also seeing a certain class of, people in Nigeria who can afford medical tourism, always flying out of the country every now and then to access quality healthcare outside the shores of Nigeria in those same countries that these young doctors have jackpot to. It appears that what is obtainable what is supposed to be obtainable in Nigeria is not, because of certain irregularities. But then the same set of Nigerians are there as doctors, and the same set of Nigerians are now flying out to be treated there.
That is a national embarrassment. That calls for a national confab, if I must put it, because most times we use national confab to describe issue that requires national urgency and attention. So for me, a state of emergency is needed in that regard, because we cannot continue, because at the end of the day, it's the country that is on the losing part. You're going to be losing money, you're going to be losing intelligence, you're going to be losing resourceful individual and building another nation. They are not building, they are not contributing to your economy. Whenever a graduate of medical department, either a nurse, a doctor, a lab technician, leaves the country to any country, is not helping your country in any way. Whether you give the person the best doctor in London and you trace his origin to Nigeria, it's not adding value to Nigeria environment. And that is the truth. We have seen a black man emerging as the president of America, and it does not add value to Africa where it's coming from. It's just in the nomenclature, in the name. So the truth is this: whether the people traveling outside the country for medical tourism or the doctors looking for a better working condition and remuneration, the boats are not helping the country. And the people losing, the major factor losing is the Nigerian people. Because not all Nigerians will have the capacity, the financial wherewithal to travel outside the shore of this country in seeking for medical tourism. And you know the implication? The implication is that we'll be losing numbers of great destinies due to poor health facilities available in the country. And that nobody wants to spend money. Nobody enjoys traveling overseas for medical tourism, not even Tinubu, the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
And why do you think they don't enjoy traveling out?
They are only looking for security. They do not have trust in the facility, not the people.
In what facility? The facility here?
The health facility
here
in Nigeria.
Not the hands.
Not just hand. We have the best brain. When you talk about medical,
so there's a trust. There's a trust
health,
for the hands. There's a trust for the brains.
No,
but there's no trust for the facility.
Why do I conclude that there is trust? Because if you go to London hospital, you go to the best hospital in India. You go to the best hospital in Canada, in Germany. The people, the best brain that will eventually attend to you are Nigerians, are the blacks.
Interesting.
Not the whites. What the whites are successfully done is to put in the best facilities, infrastructure, so to say. It is the lack of appropriate or adequate infrastructure, remuneration, and good working conditions, and these factors that we've talked earlier about are the reason why you see a lot of people traveling for medical tourism outside the shore of the country. It is even more embarrassing that people traveling out of Nigeria to Ghana, South Africa,
for medical tourism.
For medical tourism, South Africa. And we call ourselves giant of Africa. Is that not laughable to us as a people? See, if we can get, it does not require rocket science to solve. It's just about determination. It's just about sincerity of purpose and vision, clear vision of how we want our executive to work or to run. If the president today makes a proclamation just like he did in May 29 about subsidy is gone over tourism, medical tourism, especially among employees of the federal government or elected officers of the federal government, you see that much attention will be paid to our health infrastructure and every other laws that will ensure the efficiency of this sector. And what does it cost the president to make such pronunciation? Does it cost the president anything? It will cost the president something, because himself, he does not have trust in the system.
So the solution to this debacle right now is a revamp of our medical infrastructure.
That one.
Not okay.
That one. When you say infrastructure,
what other solutions?
You're talking about the facilities.
The facilities.
What about the working environment? What about the remuneration? What about the aspirations of these medical employees?
And all of this can come about in what way? How?
The National Assembly. That's why I say confab. I say a national confab because
on the healthcare sector.
On the healthcare sector, we need to declare a state of emergency, single-handedly championed by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that is where you can attract the right people and the right seriousness and attention.
Well, let's talk about primary healthcare service. In most cases, this is the number one go-to place for vulnerable Nigerians who might not be able to access, big hospitals, general hospitals, federal medical centers, and all of that. But it appears that there is very little to no attention being paid to our primary healthcare service delivery. The buildings are there. The few number of staff manning the clinics are also there. But when it comes to ensuring that it functions properly in the way that it should, we have been hearing bad news.
Shijoke, how do they function? We are still talking about the same problem. The bigger problems in our health sector are actually translated into the primary health sectors. The same problem we're having there. Don't forget that some of these strikers, some of the ex workers that is threatening to go on striking, some of them are from the primary health sector. They are not different employees.
Yeah.
They are not different people. They are not different cadres. Even medical doctors, the same kind of people you find in the general hospital, FMC, are the same set of people you find in the primary health sector. The only problem is that the number is reduced to maybe 1 or 2. You may have one medical doctor, those who are nurses, and then maybe some low cadres health experts like records and all that. So you find them in the primary health sector. It's just the number that is reduced. The same people you have in the primary health sector, you can as well have them in the general hospital, in teaching hospitals. You can have them in federal medical centers and the rest of them. So they also face the same challenges. And the biggest problem is the infrastructure. There are some primary health you go to today, no oxygens, no electricity. Beyond electricity, no medications.
Within the health sector.
Within the health sector. And funny enough,
so
some of the medications they
Mm.
have there, they are inferior. I don't want to say fake. They are inferior. Because my uncle, just 2 weeks ago, was having some problem in his neck. Went to a primary health sector in Lagos, one of the primary health sector in Lagos.
Yeah.
He met with the doctor after some examination, gave him some drugs. Do you know that the same set of drugs that was given to him from the primary health were also the same drugs that was eventually given to him later when he went to work, a teaching hospital. But when compare about their quality and standard, one is 26,000, one is 2,600. They are not, I don't want to say fake. They are not fake, but inferior product, just like you have Emzo. And some of this thing is not just about name. It's not just about brand. It's about the composition.
It's about the composition and also the pharmaceutical company that is producing this.
The trust in delivering the best.
Yeah.
At all time. That is why you see people go at the end of the day, you get drugs from the primary health sector that do not deliver the solution to your body. And then who do you blame?
And you don't even have the money to go to these teaching hospitals.
So in that case, can we now say in all sense, in right senses, that primary health sector has delivered solution? No. Yes, there are facilities, there are doctors, there are shoes, and there are some medical staffs. But do they really solve the problem? No. And that is why we need a total overhaul of the system. And let me even tell you, it's not a problem of funds. It's a problem of nonchalant attitude by the people saddled with the responsibility to man those facilities. Because every year, billions of Nigerian naira is allocated for those drugs, for those facilities, and they do not go to the right channel. The next thing you see is that you see our minister flying in jets. You see them in millions of tires, worth millions of naira. Just one babariga. And all that. That's what you see. And that is where the money goes to sponsor or fund their heavy and luxurious lifestyle.
Well, Patriot Desmond, we have quite exhausted this issue of a proposed strike by the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors. But if this strike takes place come November 1st, how much of an effect will this have on
a lot of
the Nigerian populace? And do you think this is a viable way out to ensuring that the demands of resident doctors and healthcare professionals in the country are met? You
see, the problem of Nigeria is that we play politics with everything. Not all Nigerians is aware that there have been ongoing discussion and conversation.
Yeah.
The problem is that now that there have been efforts by these medical employees, there have been discussion. What does it stop or cost the government, the executive, to look or pay all the attention, all the seriousness to the matter under discussion to see that it reached a logical conclusion or meet a resolution? Why leave it until it escalates to striking before you start running eta-sketa? That has always been the problem. So I'm only pleading on the government, because eventually you will meet some. There will be compromise. The strike itself, even if it comes up in November 1st, it cannot be for forever. It will only be for a period of time.
Yeah.
And who is going to suffer? Not even the medical staff, not even the federal government, the executives. It will still be the people. And that is why I'm begging, because in our case in this country, we have to appeal. We just have to keep appealing. The people, to some of these executives, are nothing. They are only important during electioneering. Period. And that is why right now that discussion, it should reach a logical conclusion, meet some of the requirements. After all, these people making this demand are Nigerians. They are not foreigners. Whatever you do for them, you are improving the lot of your country. So I don't believe that every day we read from the news that our foreign reserve has hit 50 billion US dollars. Our economy is doing well. Dollar is depreciating. Naira is appreciating. Dollar is depreciating. It should reflect in the life of the people, not in our bank accounts, not in our fat bank accounts. It should reflect in the size of our budget and the quality of the life of the people that we implement the budget. Because if you do not improve the quality of those who provide service, I tell you, psychologically, despite the billions of budget that is allocated to that sector, it will still not tell in the lives of the people. And that is the looming danger. That's why government needs to think twice. The employees of government also need to think twice in the interest of the country.
All right, Patriot Desmond, let's move on to yet another matter of national interest. It's concerning the Constitution review currently ongoing, and a proposal for the creation of about 6 new states. We hear that the National Assembly Constitution Review Panel has received and is set to review
69.
about 69 exactly requests for this state creation. What is your position on this matter? Is this really a necessary move at a time like this? Do we really need new states?
For the correction of the imbalances enshrined in our map, or in our formation as a country, there is certain injustice that is obvious, and that has affected the or our electoral behavior in this country.
Yes.
You see, this has been a problem for long. And then why I think it is good to solve those imbalances, the new amendment, for me, with what I have seen, we end up not solving the problem. It will just manage the problem, but it does not resolve the problem. The reason why I said it does not resolve the problem is that from what we saw that took place in Lagos and some other parts, shared by the Deputy Senate President and the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, I'm talking about Jibrin and Kalu. You see, they've successfully held this consultation and review, the public hearing and all that, and they have endorsed, the both houses, upper and lower chamber, have endorsed that there is what? Need for creation of 6 more states. But how is it going to be created? We're told that 1 will be created in each geopolitical zones, which means each of all the 6 geopolitical zones will be having nothing less than 6 states.
Yeah.
Presently, we have some states with some geopolitical zones with 6, 7, and 5. The Southeast having 5 states. So with this amendment, if it's scaled through and eventually get the assent of Mr. President, it means that the Southeast Eastern region will have a facelift of just 1 state instead of 2 states. The imbalance will still be there. It will only resolve some internal wrangling among the people of that zones or that environment. Because when you say geopolitical zones,
it will have very little to no effect on a national scale.
On the national scale.
It's just on the regional scale, yes, that it will have
have some impact in the regional zones.
Mm.
It will solve some problems within the region. But at the national scale, because the problem itself is about the national politics. If you look at the number, we have 774 local government. We have 36 states. How many states do we have in the north? We have about 19 states in the north and 17 in the south. You see that imbalance. That has always affected the tone or the direction of dictation of power, or rotation of power. And that's why you see from inception to date, Southeast has not produced a president. Some of these factors may not completely be the reason, but they contributed. And then if you want to solve those problems, you should we can create state out of no state. What it will do is that you will reduce the burden from some of the states and take it to some other state. Yes, the same amount that goes to the states. So for me, it's not about finance now. It's not about money. If, for example, in the 5 states, 2 billion is allocated every month, just an example, and then you are creating more states to make it 8 states. That means the 2 billion will be distributed among, because you are not importing new people to the states.
Will these other states agree to a reduction in their revenue,
They will.
in their FAC allocation?
They will. You know why they should?
How will they agree? How will they agree,
simple.
Patriot Desmond?
You would, because they are paying teachers.
Okay.
Now you are reducing the number of teachers they are paying. They are paying employee. You are reducing them. That is their expenditure. That is recurrent expenditure will be affected because the number of people they take care of will also reduce because you're taking from this state, you're taking from that state. You are not creating new people.
No.
Listen,
this is a solution
it's
a structural solution that you think might work. But I'm telling you that
something that
in the current Nigerian dispensation, Patriot Desmond, with the creation of these new states, if they pull through, these states, whether the new states or the old states, would not agree to anything that is below the stipulated FAC allocation that everybody is that everybody is collecting.
Let's not argue. Let me explain something to you.
Okay, will the new states agree to lower pay or lower allocation just because they are new or they are baby states?
Now let me tell you,
their argument will be we are new and we are just trying to grow.
That's not the argument.
Okay,
the argument is mathematics.
Please
you're
take us
giving
to the
money. When a state is getting certain allocation, there are variables and factors that culminated into the benchmark of the amount you should receive. Now, what are those things you factor in? You factor the number of employees in the state, the number of people you pay, because when you are giving money in the state, you are not giving the money to go and spend. You are giving the money to channel into the account.
But you would also now consider the fact that some of these states that will be created, some local government workers would automatically be elevated to state government worker level.
I am coming. Are
you also considering that?
No, they will not.
Why?
It's simple. If you look at our federal character, the same thing applicable in state. We have certain commission that ensures that every local government have representatives. You are reducing the number of commissioners. I'm coming. It's simple. You are reducing the number of assembly members. This money that comes into state, it goes to the state assembly, it goes to local government. And then you are talking about, you are only helping the governor. When you create more states in the south, you are helping the governor to reduce his work. That's what you're doing. You're not changing the money that goes to his pocket. You're not changing anything.
Are FAC allocations equal across regions?
They are equal based on the number of employees.
I'm not understanding what you're saying, Patriot.
What goes to Lagos? Let me tell you. What goes to Lagos?
Hold on. In the northwest and the northeast, are the FAC allocations equal to all the states?
Equal. You know why it is equal?
So why do you think that if a state is created, say between Gombe or between Adamawa and Taraba, if a new state is created, then the same number or the same amount of money will still be sent to these 3 states, as opposed to the one that 2 states will share?
This in a way you will understand.
Okay, please carry on.
It is simple. There are certain burden that the creation of new states will create, not to the state, but to the federal government. There is nothing that is going to change in the status quo of the amount that is called security votes that goes into the pocket of the governor. And the security vote, are they really voted for security problems in the state? No. Some of those money are exchanged into dollars and stuck in foreign accounts or used for real estate, because most of these governors, they are the best real estate in town. They converted this money. See, it's all about accountability. It's all about inclusivity. It means that more people will have responsibility over some areas. Some people, you're taking some of those burden from the governors. Now, talking about whether the money is equal, it is equal in the sense that level 8 officer in Kano and level 8 officer in Enugu, they are receiving almost the same salary. I don't know if you get the point. The assembly member in Lagos, an assembly member in Gombe,
yes,
they are receiving the same salary. The rep in Lagos, the rep in Adamawa, they are receiving the same amount. Now, what affect or sometimes change the direction or the amount in the budget to state is the priority project that the state government that is approved by FEC to the federal government. I don't know if you're getting the point, my brother.
Yes, Patriot Desmond.
Now, for example, if a state is embarking on some serious project that affect the life, they can also appeal to the federal government. If approved, that means what will be going to that state for that month will be higher. And this thing, the federal government have a balance sheet for this, that they ensure that almost every state, 36 states and the federal government gets this priority pay to solve problems. And that's why they sit. When they sit, they tell the president the problem in the state. So they now put all this problem on a scale of preference. But don't forget that all the states will get something to solve their problem. But some will get higher because of the kind of people that will be affected, the number of people that will be affected. So now, when you create more state from the state, it means some of the problem that this state governor is taking to the president will be reduced. Another person will take it to the president. And then the only burden that this will create is if the new state needed some employees that are not already in the system before. Because in most cases, some of the employees that are already in the system, that's why it's not affecting them. Those employees that are already in the system are the people that will be converted or diverted to the new state. Don't forget that we have commissioners from all local governments. And then when you are creating new state, you are taking, for example, let's use Lagos State, for example. We have 20 local governments in Lagos State. And we are creating a lagoon state. What it means is that the 20 local governments in Lagos State will be reduced to 10, or let me say 15 new local governments in Lagos State. Then the 5 burden, you're taking it from
Lagos,
Sanwo-Olu, from governor of Lagos State
to the
Lagoon State. And then the only burden it will create now is not to Sanwo-Olu, it's to the federal government, because if Lagoon State needs to match with Lagos State to have 15 local governments, and sometimes it's not necessary. Look at Bayelsa State. Let me give you an example. Bayelsa State. Look at Bayelsa State. How many local government do we have in Bayelsa? 8.
Just 8.
Just 8 local government, because it was taken out from River State. There was no need to create a problem that a solution for a problem that is not existing. And that's why they do not increase it to what? To the 23 states we have in the River State. So the same thing is going to happen.
Talking about problems, Patriot Desmond,
it's human.
A lot of people have argued,
yes,
right? They have argued that the proposal for the creation of these new states are more political more political than social.
Yes, they are political
in the sense that
providing.
In the sense that the creation of these new states have very little to no significance when it comes to the growth and development of the country.
Yes.
Rather, people are taking a look at it from a political standpoint.
It is a political standpoint.
About, let our region let our region have more states, especially during electioneering periods, yes, so that we can say, 5 states from the southeast delivered this and that.
Yes.
That is the argument on the table.
That is the argument, even for me. That is the point, and that's why I'm saying that it's just that's why I'm using the word national politics.
Yeah.
Because of national politics. If you look at the constitution that says 2/3 of this particular number, which means if the entire northern state goes, God forbid that kind of politics, goes for their own people, it will affect the other region because they have the numbers.
Yeah.
They're almost reaching the requirement required of them by the constitution.
But of this,
and that is the balance. That is the balance that creating these states will bring. It's not structural solution. It is just our ego, to massage our ego. Asking for creation of more states is to massage our ego, to solve political problem, not structural problem. Because what we really need is accountability by the people, by the governor, the elected officers to the people, which is lagging. It's lacking in most states. Most state governors are not accountable to the people. And the local government chairmen that are supposed to be accountable to the people are accountable to the governor, because the governors anoint and select them. And the state electoral commission does nothing when it comes to transparency and accountability to ensure that people who have the people at heart are given the opportunity to eventually get elected into the local government councils. And that is why, when I said it on this stage some weeks ago, that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu Supreme Court judgment that states, local government should be given a separate account and have autonomy is just a political solution that has not solved the real problem of accountability, transparency, and development to the people. And I also charged President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in that my interview that he should do more to see that INEC, if it is not INEC, we should have a body that is truly independent from the state governor influence. Because the president does not influence INEC. If you look at it very well, if you look at Independent National Electoral Commission,
yes,
the federal government, the president does not influence them. But the case is different in state election. It is the governor that influences the number of people that will be on the ballots. Is that supposed to be? And the period that is stipulated for the running of these elections is too short. Sometimes the governor takes a primitive and a callous decision to run election in 8 days.
Well, interesting take.
So these are the real problems that need solution, not some of this creation of state, and then you're creating state. Kano, that Northwest that already had that many states, you are creating another one to further widen the space or the injustice. So these are some of the things I am talking about, and that is why I said, look at the region. What we need now, look at the region that is less with number of states, create more states for them.
All right, Patriot Desmond, let's move away from the Constitution review discussion to other matters. This time around, it's concerning a recent rejig and shake-up of Nigeria's top military hierarchy, with the Chief of Defense Staff being replaced alongside the Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of Air Staff, as well as the Chief of Naval Staff, and the retention of the Chief of Defense Intelligence in the country. In a moment, we'll take a look at them, the new helmsmen, when it comes to Nigeria's military. Now, this is a State House release strengthening Nigeria's national security architecture, and a picture and names of the newly appointed service chiefs. You'd find starting off with the Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General O.O. Oluyede, and then the Chief of Defense Intelligence, Major General EAP Odunde, and Chief of Army Staff, Major General W. Shuaibu. And then beneath that, you'd also find the Chief of Naval Staff, Rear Admiral I. Abbas, and Chief of Air Staff, Air Vice Marshal S.K. Aneke. These appointments have so far been confirmed. Well, this is it came as a shocking news to many Nigerians. While a lot of individuals were elated by the rejig, others are asking or are of the opinion, why this sudden change at a time when it appears that Nigeria is gradually beginning to win the war against banditry and insurgency in the country?
For me, I think we all know the reason, but that reason should not be given attention in our conversation this morning. We should focus on the reason, like you read yourself this morning, before you started calling the names. The reason is there. To do what? To improve the national security architecture. Is that not important reason enough? To improve. Because even in the last few months, even in the last few weeks, there were still cases of banditry, kidnapping, and killings of the Nigerian people. So for me, security should be total. It's not about we are getting improvements in security architecture, and yet every day number of Nigerians are reportedly being killed by bandits. So for me, the president and the national government have sat and they looked at what is good and best for the national security architecture. That is the reason for this appointment of new service chief. And then what we can only charge these newly appointed chiefs is to be on top of their game and serve with a clear vision of leaving a legacy that will outlive them for centuries. And the only way to do that is to ensure that the confidence posed in them by the people and the government of of Nigeria, Federal Republic of Nigeria, is lived up to by ensuring that they sweep out bandits, reduce incessant killings of the people, even intra-communal clashes. They should work. The intelligence, the security, the army, the air staff, the naval, they should work in consonance with the constitution and as families, as sisters, as they usually call them, sisters organization, work together under one family, under one control of the defense staff to ensure that we sweep out all bandits and ensure the integrity of our what do you call borders. Yes. And ensure that we safeguard the people against any external aggression and flush out those people that have find their way into our community out of the system. I'm talking about these bandits. I'm happy you said that we are getting some good news, facelift, that we are getting some improvement in our security on the daily, but it does not or has not translated into the security of the country. So I believe with this new service chief, we can have a better border, a better waterways, a better air surveillance, and ensure the integrity of our security of this Federal Republic of Nigeria. And that is the national issue to be discussed on this matter. Any other issue is going to be political. Why were they relieved of their service? They have actually reached the benchmark. It's not sudden. Their retirement is expected. And their relief is also expected. So some of the things you saw in the news in the last few weeks about coup, I'm not thinking is the reason, because none of them were named in the plot. And besides, if you look at their retirement benefit as amended in 2024,
yeah,
you see that a lot of them are really happy to be retired. Well, SUV,
yeah,
bulletproof SUV. They will continue to receive their remuneration till they die. Beyond that, they will get 4 security each. They will get 10. They will have a house that about 10 officers will be. So this kind of package, everyone, even the newly appointed officers, will be happy to be retired tomorrow.
Why?
Because of the robust.
But you're talking about retirement, Patriot Desmond.
Benefits.
Retirement benefits.
Yes.
These service chiefs were not retired. They were sacked. There is a difference.
But they are getting it according to the law.
Even though they were
sacked.
sacked.
Even though.
So it's
a
compulsory retirement.
Yes. They are going to benefit. So every one of them will be happy to be sacked or to be compulsorily retired.
Now let's talk about an investigation that had revealed that in the last 10 years, 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration and about 2 years and some months of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, 500 generals have been forced out of service, have been forced to immature or premature retirement. This is despite rising insurgency, the report states, and that some ex-military generals are warning of crisis during this current dispensation due to young generals who have been retired. Usually when there's a shake-up like this, the helmsmen don't just go alone. It's like, they go with other generals who are supposed to be within the same cadre with them. How much of an effect does this have?
It has a big effect on our national security.
Yeah.
And it's one way or the other going to affect the performance of some of these generals.
Yeah.
And everything is about trust. When you work in an organization with a trust, your delivery will be top notch.
Yes.
Against when you work without certainty, with uncertainties, fueled with uncertainty, you see that you misbehave. And this has one way or the other affected the delivery of our service use and our security architecture in this country. It's a big mess and a big challenge, whether you want to talk about it or you want to leave it under the carpet. This is a serious security challenge that needs to be addressed. It's not something that we should make a culture, because that culture will affect the output and the productivity and the win or the fight against security generally in the country. Not just because of the few scenarios that has happened, because when you say retirement benefit, the people who were captured are the service chiefs. What about the rest of them that were forcefully or compulsorily retired? And that's why you see that in the last 10, 12 years, we have had cases of generals that were sacked that are creating camps in our forests, training Boko Haram, training bandits, giving out their experience to
and this news is confirmed?
State lords. Yes, some years back. There have been some investigation and some accomplished officers in the training of these state
bandits and
all that in the past.
Yeah.
So these are some of the problem, and that is why once you are a military man, you should die a military person. For me, the point of relieving them when they are, it is easy. Legions. Do you know that most of the legions are not retired? Retired army, retired soldiers. They refuse to retire because they still have the energy. They still want to work.
Yeah.
And some of them becomes gardeners, a CSO in some churches, CSO in some organization, training their employees.
Yes.
The civilian employee, training them on how to defend themselves.
Because even though they officially they are retired, but physically body-wise,
mentally, they are not retired.
They are still active.
So federal government we need to look for local solution to local problems. We don't need to borrow some of these things from the foreign countries. I've seen old generals in state house discussing security in US, even if it is film. But I know it's close to what happens over there, obtainable over there. You don't compulsorily retire able men in the name of political shake-off. You need to find a way of creating another space for them. Maybe the salary will be reduced, their tax will be reduced, but they are going to be in think tank. Instead of having a legion, we can have what they call think tank, national security think tank. Yeah. Whether you are amputated,
consisting of former servicemen.
There are people that will be relieved because of amputation, because of some major accident, but they're still able, intelligent. They can still create some solutions in our national security war against insurgency. So we should create a place for them that you can monitor. You can see their effort. Instead of relieving them to go and be training some civilians on how to disarm armed guys and how to secure an environment, teaching them how to use the gun, how to use rifles and all that. And that has been one of the major problems or the reason for proliferation of banditry across this country. Who taught them? Somebody must teach you how to shoot, must teach you how to defend, must teach you how to launch an attack. And if you do not have experience, how do you get that? These machineries, some of the machineries you see that train some of these bandits, these thieves and all that, armed robbers, they are not imported. They are within. And some of them are relieved police officers, relieved army officers, or those who are sent to Jaji, those who were sent to go and learn that could not complete due to some one health issue or the other. So federal government our security architecture is beyond buying ammunition. It must be intelligence based. You must draw your intelligence from your culture, tradition, and things that have happened that has made the case worsen. Ever since we've been talking about the fight against insurgency, we've not won because of our strategies. And it's only a fool and the same person that kept doing things the same old fashion, the same old way, and we'll be expecting a different result. We are not getting that desired result because of the application first of recruiting some of these soldiers and relieving some after about maybe 6 months in Jaji, in our defense college, in defense training, teaching them everything, and then you now relieve them, able young boys. What would they do with the skills?
Now, Patriot Desmond still staying with security matters, national security matters. We hear the troops have wiped out about 80 bandits in a fierce Kebbi border battle. This occurred in one day, 80 whole bandits, quite a very huge figure. And I must say kudos to our troops of the Nigerian military, both the army and the air force. However, in keeping up with the fight against banditry and insurgency, where did we get it wrong, and how did we get to a point where in one swoop we are having up to 80 bandits
Yes,
coming on,
able young men,
exactly, launching an attack on our military?
You see, like I was giving a background to some of the intelligence that has affected our national security architecture,
Yeah.
that needs what they call comprehensive resolutions or scientific solution, is that we need to change some of the things we do. A lot of young people, Nigerians, are part of these people that are creating this havoc.
In what way?
Some of them because of lack of jobs, because of frustration. Some of them because they were arbitrarily sacked from service. You see, some of them will feel like they are hopeless. After all, I wanted to serve my fatherland, and you have refused. No Nigerians should be denied opportunity to serve their fatherland when they show interest in military. I don't know if you're getting it. It might be expensive, but it's better we spend that money this way. It's not offensive. It is productive. It is productive. When we have a lot of young people that love to carry gun, they love to carry gun. Why do you leave them out there? They have passion to carry gun. Why not put them in the military? Employ them and put them in the forest. That will save this country a whole lot of money from machineries, securing, and repairs that is caused by these attacks by these bandits. 80 old numbers of people. Where are they from? What are the intelligence gathered at the end of the day? Is it just about arresting and putting them in prisons or killing them, exterminating them? What has been our strategy when it comes to intelligence gathering? What kind of rehabilitation, reorientation, and reintegration process are these guys going through? I do not expect that you just arrest and punish them. You need to understand the process of recruitment. And I think Nigeria should have, because we've been arresting these bandits in different areas and in different fields and in different directions. Why not? It doesn't mean that we've not gathered enough intelligence to be able to curtail this evil. And that is where my tone or my direction of discussion is held into this morning. That's all about the intelligence. It's not about winning this war. You can't win the war if you are doing firearm, if you are doing combat war.
Now, let me take you back to the Constitution Review panel and the comments that some of the panel members had made over the weekend while talking about the possible creation of new states, about 6 new states to be selected out of the 55 proposals.
Yes.
One of the comments that they made was that they had pushed the topic of state policing to the rear. Basically, setting it aside for some other time. And at the time when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu had instructed the National Assembly to liaise with state governors to create this state policing, it came about as a very fantastic news. But here we are seeing a different dynamic to it.
It's easy to solve this problem. Whether state policing, what is the purpose? What is the essence of the creation of state police? You see, if you want to solve problem, there is this mindset you use. A productive person, a leader. A leader solves problems by asking questions.
Yes.
Understanding the root reason for your action. Now, if people are agitating for state policing, it's because of the weak national security architecture. So, if you are not creating state policing or you are not approving it, Do you know you can solve the people's problem that is agitated by what? Strengthening national security. By doing certain things. What is that thing? Look at Lagos State. Lagos State have what they call RRS that are drawn from the Nigerian police. They are not state Lagos State police. Oh.
RRS.
Yes.
What does it mean?
Rapid Response Squad.
Rapid Response Squad.
RRS. Now they work under the instruction and directives of the state government.
Interesting.
Go and find out. That model can be replicated, but most of the burden and responsibility is taken care of by the state governor. You see the difference?
Including their salaries.
Not their salaries. There are certain wages, equipment, ammunition, gun, vehicles,
Mobility.
what do they call their what do they call it? They have name for all this.
Yeah.
State government invests heavily, but other states are running from that responsibility
Because
they are waiting for federal government. Yes, and their states, what they call security vote. Lagos State is using their own to strengthen their own security. And Lagos State do not have a choice because of the population, 20 million people.
Yeah.
So you need to look for innovative way of solving problems. Now you're talking about state policing for over 10 years. In the wake of this discussion, killings are ongoing. So do you have to fold your hands, keep talking, doing what we call talking without direction, action? Why not look for a way to sit with the security chiefs? Okay, the state government would have something like RRS or Amotekun, but they are going to work with you. We are going to ensure that the actions are coordinated. You coordinate them. They work under your instruction. Use them in your team. You can form what they call JTF, Joint Task Force. Now, you're going to have more numbers that is going to be taken care of by the state governor. Let's say, for example, we have Amotekun in the Joint Task Force of the operations to secure the people of Ondo State. And then the state governor is saying that I'm going to employ 10,000 Amotekun security
agents. Yeah.
Now, they are going to work with you, in ensuring the security of Ondo State. And you know what it means? You're going to provide ammo tank. You're going to provide this, provide that. That will go a long way in putting to bear the issue of state policing. When you strengthen national security, you're already solving the problem of creating new state police and the architecture, the operations, the centralization.
So it's a holistic solution.
It is an holistic solution in essence. Why you're waiting for the constitutional amendment that gives power to state policing? You can create your own state solution,
which is legal and backed by the law.
Which is legally binded by law, and it's only going to cost you money. It is that money that the state governors do not want to spend, and that is why we're having this agitation forever.
All right, Patriot Desmond, quite a very interesting discussion here. Thank you so much for always coming around to give it to us hot here in the studio.
The pleasure is always mine.
All right. That has been Patriot Desmond, the president of the Nigerian Nexus, all glamorous, looking like the chief that he is, and speaking to us, chief for the country, and speaking to us on matters of national interest concerning the healthcare sector and resident doctors threatening a strike, of course, the constitution review and the proposal for creation of new states. We also touched on matters of security, a rejig to the hem of affairs of Nigeria's military, and a recent success by troops in Kebbi State where 80 bandits were killed. We'll take a break. When we come back, we will continue the discussion on Morning Express from a different dimension.